Hello dear students, how are you today? Hope you are doing well. Today we are going to have this correction of questions that we already sent last time. And before we start, it's better for you to answer the questions by yourself before you watch the video or the correction or explanation of the answers. Once you answer the questions by yourself, you can see the difference between what you wrote and the answer key or the correct answers, and it would be more effective. So next time you know what to do, or you could do better. Ready? So let's start with the first question. So question number 1 says, spot out the differences between today's schools and future schools. First of all, what's the meaning of spot out? Spot out means locate, try to find throughout the selection, identify the differences between today's schools and future schools. So they want us to find out how future schools are different from today's schools. And there is a table to be filled, and you can write the information according to the titles written. Let's start mentioning the differences. As for today's schools, schools are buildings, so we write a building. For future schools, there would be private rooms, as we saw in Tommy's and Margie's time. Each one of them used to study in his or her private room. Number 2, today's schools, we have teachers, and teachers are human beings. For the future schools, mechanical teachers or robots are expected. Number 3, collective and interactive work. So, in today's schools, students work together, they share ideas, information, teachers work with the students, but in the future, there will be pure individual work. As you saw, Margie used to learn or study in her room alone by herself. Number 4, today at schools, same material to all students in class. So all students in the same class take the same material, which means having the same level, whereas in the future, different material will be given to fit each student. As you see, for example, Margie, she was 11, so she was given material according to her age or to her level. Finally, today we use books, but in the future, computers will be used. Okay, today we also use computers, but mostly books. But in the future, there will be computerized screens. I want to remind you of something. Every piece of information should be taken from the text or from the selection. Question number 2 says, what's the writer's purpose behind writing this selection? And then explain. First of all, what do they want me to do? They want the writer's purpose. And we know that the writer's purpose could be to inform, to entertain, and to persuade. Okay, after reading the selection, what's your answer? What do you think? Is it to inform? Is it to entertain? Is it to persuade? And then they ask you, explain. Like, if you say it's to inform, you have to say why. If you say it's to entertain, you have to justify or say why. And if you say it's to persuade, you have also to explain your answer. Or in other words, you have to prove. The best way to answer this question is to find out what the writer wrote about. So we know that he wrote about schools in the past and he wrote about schools in the future as well. So he is giving us information about schools in the future and schools in the past. At this point, we can say that his purpose is to inform. How shall I explain or prove that? By saying that he is telling us, he is giving us information about future schools and the schools in the past as well. Now, how did he tell us this information? Did he just write about it, or is it that he used some characters to convey his message? Yes, he used some characters. He talked about Tommy's and Margie's experience in the future. So, we can say that since he talks about Tommy's and Margie's personal experience when they found a book about schools in the past, then we can also say that his purpose is to entertain. Now, how can we write the answer if we have both, like to inform and to entertain? First of all, what's his primary purpose? What's the first purpose? The first purpose is to talk about schools in the future, but he used some characters to send this message or this information. So we say, first of all, the primary purpose is to inform, but in an entertaining way, or is to inform about education in the future in an entertaining way. Finally, let's read the final answer. The primary or first purpose of the writer is to inform. Is to inform about education in the future, but in an entertaining way. The writer's purpose is also to entertain because it tells about Tommy's and Margie's personal experience when they found out about schools in the past. In other words, the writer's purpose is to give information about future schools where education will be purely individualistic and mechanized, contrary to recent ones, but in an entertaining way.